Hey friends, welcome back to Movies in a Bottle. I'm Scuba Stan, Scuba Steve's brother, and I'm stoked to have you here because I'm doing my first requested breakdown and it's on Big Daddy. Huge shout out to Silas for the recommendation. I've been doing a lot of serious, dramatic movies, and I can't really think of anything better to capture the comedy and heart of the 90s more than a classic Adam Sandler movie. So, yeah, let's roll film.
Sonny wakes up from a call from his dad, and right from the start we set the stage. Sonny's father is concerned that he can't maintain a decent job and that he should stop wasting his time goofing around and study for the bar exam, like he did. Sonny assures him that he's fine. The money from the cab accident's doing great in the stock market. He's all good. He changes subject and asks Sonny about his girlfriend, Vanessa. Oh my god, what time is it? She's running late for work because Sonny turned the alarm off again. It's no big deal to him though, because it's the weekend and they can order from Cozy's. But she thinks it's weird how much he orders from there and hangs out with Nazo, the delivery guy. This was the straw that broke the camel's back. She's gonna go stay with her sister for a bit until he can grow up and maybe get a real job. Apparently his job as a toll booth operator isn't up to her standards, but after Sonny's shift, he gets a ride home from a random customer and surprise! He blew a surprise birthday party Corinne had planned for Sonny's roommate, Kevin. Hey, is that Jon Stewart? The party gets back on track when Kevin and Corinne's sister Layla are able to cheer her up. Kevin is chatting with his friends about the happy couple when he couldn't read the situation any worse. He doesn't think they're going to last another 2 weeks, but Kevin gathers the room for an announcement. He reminds everyone of his business trip to China tomorrow and he starts to muster his courage, but Sonny absolutely craters the mood again by boorishly interrupting Kevin to ask if he's about to propose. Of course he was, and she still says yes. Kevin catches up with his pal later on the roof and asks about his behavior tonight. Sonny confesses that he's in a bit of a headwind because he knows Vanessa's about to break up with him, but Kevin understands why. She's ready for that next stage in life, but Sonny just wants things to be as fun as they were back at the start of their relationship. The next morning, Sonny and Corinne exchange their usual insults about her working at Hooters once, and there's a knock at the door because a teenager got paid $5 to drop a kid off with a note and leave. Sonny calls Kevin right before his flight and gives him the rundown. If this note is to be believed, the kid's name is Julian and he's Kevin's son that he never knew about. Kevin is skeptical because none of this information really adds up, and he thinks he should cancel his trip and come back anyways. But Sonny likely wants to prove that he's capable of that next step too because he insists to Kevin that he can take care of this. He makes a call to Arthur, a social worker he knows, but it's Columbus Day so the offices are closed. No worries, Sonny still got this. He quickly deduces that the kid eats food and they go out, and Sonny learns fast that kids his age have a lot of routines and quirky habits. One of those things being that he can't cross the road until he's holding hands with a grown-up. The two are passing time hoping rollerbladers fall down at the park like one does, and Sonny learns a couple of things about Julian. Things like Julian is 5 years old and then he wipes his own ass. Unfortunately, they aren't having much luck with rollerbladers, so Sonny manufactures a little bit of his own with a well-placed log in his path. Julian happens to be like every other 5-year-old I know because he craves more violence. Nazo has joined Sonny and Julian for a night of Cozy's food and some old TV. Julian proudly shares with Nazo that he wipes his own ass, and Sonny asks him about the action figure that he's holding. Well, of course, it's his favorite guy, Scuba Steve. Shortly after, the pair wrap up dinner because it's Monday Night Football, and naturally, Julian needs to go to the bar to watch too. To be fair, though, he's got no one else to leave him with, and it's not like he's gonna miss the game. The waitress asks Julian who he's rooting for, and he repeats, the goddamn Jets. Then Sonny orders them a couple of root beers, and he reminisces about how after law school, he, his friends, and Vanessa always used to watch Monday night games here. The duo finally end the night back home, where Sonny is venting to Julian all about his relationship troubles until he finally realizes it's 2 a.m. But before bed, Julian needs a nightlight. No problem for Sonny, he plugs in a big neon light advertising adult entertainment, of course. As they're reflecting on the great day they had and saying goodnight, Julian asks Sonny if he's his dad, and he says no, but they'll figure that out in the morning. Sonny and Julian may have had too much fun though, because the next day when talking with his friends, he breaks the news to him that he's gonna adopt Julian. They really try to get him to consider this decision, but he throws their caution to the wind and immediately calls the social services office pretending to be Kevin and says he's gonna raise Julian himself. Sonny learns the old-fashioned way that parenting isn't all fun and games. He's woken early the next morning because Julian wet the bed. No biggie, Sonny lays down some newspaper and tries to go back to sleep. Too bad for Sonny, Julian sleeps how my fiancé describes me at night, basically like a rotisserie chicken or a gas station hot dog. Going back to bed is totally a lost cause, so Sonny says they can at least get some McDonald's breakfast since he's up before 11. He quickly shows Julian how to tie his shoes and they're off. After one quick side quest of public urination followed by another one of bartering with Steve Buscemi as a homeless man, they get to McDonald's. But it's too bad they rush for nothing because they stop serving breakfast at 10:30. Sonny loses his cool in classic Adam Sandler fashion, causing Julian to start crying, and he doesn't stop until Sonny gets hurt, and like a good parent, Sonny hops into traffic to cheer up Julian. Antics continue at home. Julian starts annoying Sonny, saying that he can't take a nap because he's too hungry. One food coma later, Sonny finally gets a chance to watch the big game. He's trying to stay as silent as he can, but it's no use. Julian disappears like a slasher villain, then reappears demanding to watch the Kangaroo Song video now, even though the game is going into overtime. Even that fun is short-lived though when Julian barfs. Then, like everything else, Sonny cleans it with a newspaper. Feeling like he really needs Vanessa's help at this point, he takes Julian to see her. Then after one more side quest of public urination later, Julian says he's too nervous to meet her, but Sunny calms him down by giving him a pair of, quote, magic sunglasses that he says will make him invisible. They get to Vanessa's and Julian reluctantly takes off the magic sunglasses. Sunny explains how he adopted Julian to prove that he's responsible, but she's being cagey about something. He hears someone in the bathroom, but thank God, it's just grandfather time, not someone who's going to be sleeping with his girlfriend. But actually he is. Vanessa has overcorrected and left Sunny for an old dude. Realizing the mess that he's in without Vanessa's help, Sunny keeps pretending to be Kevin and tries to take Julian back to social services. Here he learns that Julian's mom has passed away, so he'd have to wait in an orphanage until a foster family's lined up. Julian interrupts their conversation to show off that he remembered how to tie his own shoes, and Sunny convinces Arthur that he's at least better off with him than an orphanage, so he's gonna watch Julian temporarily. Sunny tries to call his dad for some help and advice, but instead of anything useful, he berates his son, saying that he's gonna be a terrible father because he's too selfish. Sunny slams the phone and then levels with Julian that he might not meet his real dad. Then speaking of overcorrection, Sunny declares that he's not gonna control Julian at all. He starts by letting Julian rename himself to Frankenstein, and the chaos continues. Julian can start wearing whatever he wants, and he gives him a slingshot. He shows him how to do a sleeper hold on Nazo, and more irresponsible things.
I don't know why I love this next scene so much, but I've remembered it forever. It's Julian's first time trick-or-treating, and the guy that lives there wants no part of it, so naturally Sunny breaks into the house and makes the guy give Julian his CDs, a box of cereal, and his watch.
Sunny grabs lunch with his friends again, where Julian orders a very nutritious 30 packets of ketchup and does a nasty spit-dangling trick. But Sunny is mostly there to brag about his new parenting style of letting Julian make all of his own decisions, which includes his on-the-spot choice to go to school on Monday. Another proud dad moment. Later, Sunny uses some deviously clever tactics to have Julian initiate conversations with girls at the park. But he couldn't have picked a worse target because their plan backfires when they try it on Corinne's sister, Layla. She sees right through the ruse and recognizes Sunny from the party, but his charm is too much. He seriously leverages the kid, saying that he's gonna feel like a failure, and having Julian say that if she doesn't come over, there's a good chance that he'll develop a stutter. Papa, please. Their date is going well at first, but Julian/Frankenstein keeps interrupting. At first, he needs Sunny to tell him goodnight, but then not much later, he needs a whole bedtime story. Together, Layla and Sunny craft a very cute story about a rabbit and a squirrel sharing and getting along, but they're actually just talking about themselves. During the story, Layla lets Sunny down easy, but she does think he is incredibly sweet, and at least Scuba Steve gets a goodnight kiss. Monday rolls around, and Sunny drops Julian off for his first day of school, but he's too nervous about the other kids. To calm him down, Sunny gives him back the magic sunglasses to wear if he feels scared, and the two say goodbye for now. To pass the time, he calls Layla, and they set up a quick laundry date because it's New York, I guess. This date is going well, and she seems totally enamored by Julian's tiny clothes. Then she goes on to say that she thinks what he's doing with Julian is great, but tells him to hope that he's not hanging out with all the bad kids and drug dealers. The joke goes way over Sunny's head because right after this, he does the worst sting operation of all time to root out which children are bad influences. None of them even remotely have any idea what he's talking about, so they pass the test. The two are at the grocery store when Julian has an eczema flare-up. Sunny's none the wiser in terms of health, so he tells him just to scratch it, but he does know a thing or two about saving money when Microsoft drops 3 points. Corinne sees them denting cans for a discount, and she helps Julian's eczema, but more or less calls Sunny an idiot for letting him scratch it. She then stomps off, and he warns her not to get too close to the frozen section, like a gentleman would. Later that evening, Sunny and Layla are on a real date, and sparks are starting to fly. Not fireworks, but definitely sparks. He seems to really respect how driven and motivated she is, and she loves his charm and how he's taking care of Julian. Speaking of, he's in the good hands of all of Sunny's friends back at the apartment and making up all kinds of rules to win games and just having a blast. But Arthur drops by to see Kevin because he's been avoiding calls. His friends nearly blow Sunny's cover as Kevin, but they take a message that he'll call him back. Back on the date, they're having a lovely evening, dancing at the restaurant with a very romantic atmosphere. Remember that one scene in Lady and the Tramp? Sunny walks Layla back to Corinne's where she's staying, and he cranks his charm up to 11. He thinks that they should kiss just to see if they have any serious chemistry, but not only that, Scuba Steve got a goodnight kiss the other night. He's been rubbing it in Sunny's face ever since. They share their first kiss, but who else but Corinne pops up again just to ruin the moment. Sunny drops by to see how Frankenstein's been doing in school, but he gets bad news from the teacher. Julian's behavior has been awful. He covers messes with newspaper, he trips classmates on rollerblades, and worst of all, he's the smelliest kid this teacher's ever had. Sunny promises to turn all this around, and she tells him a good place to start would be helping Julian prepare for his role as Ben Franklin in an upcoming play. Julian is so fixated on playing the video game Twist Metal 1 that he won't take a bath or listen to Sunny. And he doesn't listen to Nazo because, frankly, he can't read. I love that game, by the way. But Sunny needs Julian to turn his bad behavior around, so he breaks out the big guns and steps out for a minute. Julian answers a knock on the door, and he doesn't recognize Sunny dressed up in scuba gear. Sunny says that he's Scuba Sam, and he asks for Julian's help to take baths with his son, Scuba Steve. Not only that, but if he works hard and keeps the Scuba Squad a secret, he can join it too.
The Scuba Sam scene is actually based off a real event that happened to Adam Sandler when he was a kid. He lost his Diver Dan toy, so his dad dressed up in a scuba suit and said that Diver Dan had gone home, but thanks for looking after him this whole time.
As expected, this is a major turning point for Julian. He keeps the scuba squad a secret from Sonny during bath time. He jams the toll line while practicing counting change. They warn rollerbladers to slow down at the park, and he starts studying too.
I love these bits so much right here. Steve Buscemi shows back up saying, "You owe me a sausage McMuffin," before totally wiping out. And then later, while Julian's studying, he's reading all the really hard words, and then Nazo freaks out after not being able to read just one hard word.
All their hard work finally pays off. Sonny and Layla attend the school play, and Julian outshines all the other kids. His report on Ben Franklin is awesome, and he's the only one that behaves when it's time to sign the Declaration of Independence. But all good things must come to an end. At home, there's another knock on the door, and Arthur greets Sonny by his real name and confronts him for pretending to be Kevin this whole time. He threatens that if he doesn't let Julian go now, he'll be arrested. Julian is way too young to understand why he has to leave, so on his way out, he pleads to stay. He won't play the kangaroo song anymore, and even wipes his own ass. He wipes his own ass. Sonny isn't going down without a fight though. He goes to Layla, explaining that he was able to pull some strings and get a custody hearing for Julian Tuesday, but he needs her help since she's a great lawyer. She feels for Sonny, but her hands are tied. She has to be in Washington for one of her cases, and this is exactly why she was hesitant to get involved with this mess in the first place. Sonny pours his heart out, saying that he wasn't expecting a kid to randomly show up on his doorstep either, but he ended up falling in love with him anyway. Not to be deterred, he studies day and night and even watches the kangaroo song for emotion. Tuesday rolls around, and at first it's just Sonny and his law school friends defending him, but Layla makes a last-second appearance. Sonny asks if this means does she love him, and she says, something like that. Aw. Time for witnesses. First, they call a rowdy old guy from the Monday Night Football bar, and he vouches for Sonny, but says that he fights like a girl. Next is the homeless Steve Buscemi, and he starts to go on a crazy tangent until Sonny discreetly waves a bag of Mickey D's around, and he course corrects and passionately shouts that he thinks Sonny should be acquitted of all charges. Nazo's interview is crazy too. It devolves into him just shouting at Steve Buscemi until the real Kevin shows up to defend Sonny. The state has a good argument though, and they ask if he has any witnesses that aren't just his buddies, and he calls maybe his least favorite person, Corinne, to the stand. She's very short with her answers, making it crystal clear that she hates Sonny, but she does admit that he was being a good father. Then, for the official record, he asks where she worked during medical school. Hooters, of course. Pretty sure they filed for bankruptcy here in 2025 though, so this whole bit's days are probably numbered. Next, Layla calls Julian as a witness, and Sonny gives him a warm smile and thumbs up as he takes the stand. At first, he has a hard time talking in front of the crowd, but he whispers something in Layla's ear, and she returns with the magic sunglasses. Julian starts answering her questions, saying that he's from Toronto, but he only recently moved to Buffalo. Then he recalls a few of the antics he and Sonny have been up to, like practicing the sleeper hold on Nazo, peeing on buildings, and of course, Styx is the greatest American rock band of all time, and they only got a bad rap because critics are cynical a-holes. Well said, kid. Pulling some heartstrings, he answers Layla's final question, saying that the last thing his mom told him was that he was going to live with his new dad, and if he could pick who that was, it would be Sonny. Sonny thinks things are going well, but Kevin isn't convinced. Sonny knows he needs to do something big to convince everyone, so he surprises the court by asking his father, who was secretly watching from the back row, to question him as a witness. The plan certainly backfires at first. Pop says that he was only here to make sure Sonny didn't end up in jail, and his questions paint Sonny in a terrible light. He admits to lying to be Kevin and how he missed a funeral for a Jethro Tull concert. After his dad is done very passionately explaining why this would be a bad idea, Sonny just places his hand on his father's, telling him that he loves him and not to be scared about him being a dad. Sure, be worried about him getting hurt skiing, but not about him being a dad. He metaphorically holds a mirror up to his father, saying that he would do things like fly across the country to help his son, even if he didn't agree with why he was doing it. Sonny knows this is the right thing to do because he would die to keep Julian from feeling even an ounce of sadness, and that's why Pops is here right now too. That's the type of father that he's also going to be. The entire room is so moved that they call their dads, even Steve Buscemi, and Pops tells the judge that Sonny should have custody. But the judge isn't swayed because the law is the law, and technically what Sonny did is illegal. She orders the court police to arrest him, but Kevin steps forward to say that he's Julian's father, he isn't pressing charges, and he'll take custody. He apologizes to Corinne, but he had to do the right thing.
Corinne just acts shocked at this revelation, but the judge has already referred to Julian as the same last name as Kevin, and already accused Sonny of impersonating Kevin, so tiny plot hole there.
The court grants Kevin custody pending a DNA test, and Julian runs out yelling no because he wanted Sonny to be his dad. They hug, and Sonny does his best to comfort Julian, saying that he's always going to be around as a friend and things are going to be okay. Sonny and Kevin are talking at the park about Julian's routines, but it's time for Kevin to take over. He lets Julian know that it's going to be okay because he's known his dad his whole life. Sonny is nervous at first, but he looks back seeing the two becoming fast friends playing with snappers. He remembers the incredible journey that was the last 6 weeks and leaves knowing the kid is in good hands. A very specific 1 year, 3 months, and 6 days later, Sonny is being dragged away from his very full caseload as a successful lawyer to grab dinner at Hooters with his pal, and surprise! This time he isn't ruining the surprise because everyone is there for him. He's still like family with Julian, Kevin, and Corinne, and as they take a seat, Sonny gets some karmic satisfaction when he sees his ex-girlfriend Vanessa and the old dude are working there now. While holding Julian, Sonny sets a present Nazo gave him down alongside all the others, and credits roll on a happy ending.
Behind the scenes, Jon Stewart said this whole experience made him realize that he doesn't want any kids, and then he welcomed his first child into the world a few years later. Julian is actually played by Dylan and Cole Sprouse of the Zack and Cody fame. I watched their interview on MTV but didn't learn very much. They both threw up on set, drank Adam Sandler's coffee, and wished all the mothers out there a very happy Mother's Day. Why not? This one absolutely makes my Mount Rushmore of Sandler films, but let me know what you think. Surely you're a fan if you made it this far in the video. And special thanks to Silas for the request. Open reminder, I'm always taking suggestions, so let me know if there's anything you'd like to see later. And lastly, thank you so much to my new subscribers. I had a goal this year to hit 100, and you guys are well on your way to making that happen, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. But that's all I got. Y'all be good, and I'll catch you next week.